And if anybody wants to rename themselves in the Zoom, when you're speaking, it'll say, Charlie space Setterfield dash Sinclair College or something. It'll show that on the YouTube video. So that's sometimes helpful to students. Well, I see we have a classroom. Is Miss Castro with you guys? They might not be able to talk with us. Maybe they're just a virtual partner in the video.
Hi, we're here.
Oh, okay, great. Well, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having us.
Please feel free to just hop in and interrupt us and ask any questions anybody has. We welcome it, and we're just really glad you're with us today. Thanks again.
Awesome, thank you.
Charlie, we got 1 minute till we want to go ahead and get started. So
Okay.
I'm going to kick it off in a second. I see that we're getting a few more viewers joining us into the YouTube Live. And we're glad to have you with us on National Construction Appreciation Week. Excited to talk with Sinclair College about some really cool programs and get to learn about some of the great opportunities we have here in the Miami Valley. All right, Charlie, thanks for joining us. If you could go ahead and introduce yourself and your friends in this virtual open house tour info session, if you will. I'll let you take it over, and thank you so much for joining us for National Construction Appreciation Week.
Absolutely. Thank you, Brian. Thanks for arranging this, and thanks to everybody for joining us this morning. Here is a real quick once around the room. My name is Charlie Setterfield. I am chair of the Built Environment Department here at Sinclair, and we'll talk about what that means in a minute. But I'm happy to say that I'm joined by several other folks who are also part of the Built Environment Department. And if they wouldn't mind, if we could go once around the slide there and introduce ourselves, that would be appreciated. Why don't we start with Eric? Just a couple of words about your background and what you do at Sinclair.
Sure. Good morning. My name is Eric Dunn. I'm the Assistant Dean of Science, Math, and Engineering, and I also teach in the built environment. I teach construction courses as well as AutoCAD construction estimating, project management, and our capstone.
Great. Thanks for being here. Kaya Knowles, how about you? What do you do here at Sinclair?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Kaya Knowles. I work in the work-based learning office, and we do exactly what those words say. We help students work and learn at the same time. We manage our internships and apprenticeships that come through Sinclair College.
Great. Thank you for being here. And Rebecca, tell us a little bit about what you do here in the Built Environment Department.
So I am Rebecca Palin. I am the program coordinator in the Built Environment Department. So I am your go-to person if you have any questions or looking to tour any of our labs or things of that nature that deal with our programs.
Excellent. And thank you for being here. I appreciate it. So we are here to talk about the built environment. And so probably the first question is, what does that mean? What is the built environment? And so you've probably heard people say that a picture says 1,000 words. And so let's look at a few pictures of what the built environment is. So it's where we live. It's our houses, our apartments, our condos, whatever they happen to be. It's where we play or go to watch other people play, maybe even. It's where we work or go to school. It's where we go to see cultural events or like this is the Dayton Art Institute, which is a museum. So there's all sorts of things that we can do in the built environment. It's also where we shop. It's how we connect with each other. So basically, anything that we do, anytime that we touch the earth and make it something that it wasn't before, we are creating the built environment. And to me, that's a pretty exciting thing. You get to put your own vision on what you want the world to be. It could also be said, let me change screens here for just 1 second. I want to go over here and show you a quick little video. And so it was said that a picture tells 1,000 words. Well, how about a video? A video must tell 1,000,000 words then, right? So let me see if we can make this work. So this video is showing you some examples of work in the built environment. This is all construction, architecture, design work, environmental work, energy management work, and this is all using software products that we teach here at Sinclair. So we don't teach all of these. Autodesk software is huge. We concentrate on the ones that are appropriate to the built environment. So we teach things like Revit and AutoCAD. We have access to others like 3ds Max, virtual reality software, things like that. So these are samples of projects that were done using Autodesk software. So obviously a big part of the built environment is making sure that you can visualize, see what's going to happen, and share that with the other people who are involved in your projects. So whether it's the owner or somebody else who's in the construction business or whatever it might be, they need to see what you're doing and what you have in mind. One of the software packages that you saw in that demonstration is Autodesk Revit. And so I want to show you just a sample project from my past. This is a project. I was doing some part-time work at a local architect's office, and we were working on a project for Wright State University. This is a new classroom building. It's not so new anymore. It's maybe 4 or 5 years old now, but it was built over at Wright State, and this was all done using Revit software, which is part of that Autodesk software. So the point of this is that when we create our building, we are now modeling it in the computer rather than just drawing lines on paper. It's almost like a video game now, all right? So it's almost like Sims or something like that, right? So we are actually constructing this thing. And if I zoom in a little bit, we can even look inside the building and see, oh, they designed that with those 4 tables sitting right there. And then we can dive into that. This software also puts together our floor plans for us. Well, we put them together and the software keeps track of it. And one of the nice things about this is it allows us to do a whole lot of other things with the model once we have it built. So we can determine how much energy it's going to use. We can determine if it's going to stand up to earthquakes or windstorms or something like that. There's all sorts of analysis programs that we can really take advantage of. And it's actually very cool, very interesting stuff. So let's go back from that just a minute here. So let me switch back. Okay, so one of the reasons why I think it's kind of an exciting time to be in the built environment is because of this number. Seems like a really small number, 2.2, but actually it's a huge number. That number represents the 2.2 billion people that are going to be joining us here on planet Earth over the next couple of decades, right? those people are going to need places to live and go to school and go to work and do all the things that the built environment provides for them. You can look at, this is United Nations projections on population growth. So right now we're at about 7.5 billion people on the planet. And by the end of this decade, we're going to add more than 4 billion people. So there's a lot of work for folks who are in school now. There is a huge amount of work that's going to be coming down the road. For a lot of people, that means job security, right? So you're going to have a lot to do over the next 40, 50, 60 years to get ready for all those people who are joining us. In terms of square footage, we're going to build about 80 billion square meters or 900 billion square feet over the next 10 to 15 years. That's 3/4 of the size of the entire state of Ohio. Can you imagine that? So the entire state, cover it with a building, 3/4 of it, and that's how much we're going to build in the United States over the next few years. So that's pretty exciting stuff. You get to really touch the environment and see what happens with it. So how do we learn here at Sinclair? Let's take a look at some of our lab activities. What you're seeing on the screen now is actually a sample of our 3D printing capabilities. So this project is something that we're actually doing for the Sinclair Police Department. So they have, they do practice drills, right? So just in case something goes wrong on campus, they want to be prepared. And so they will have drills on campus where they, do whatever activity. Well, between those real live drills, what they want to do is be able to set it up on a table and kind of run through the scenarios before they actually go out and practice in the field. And so what we've done, using that same Revit software, we've modeled all of the Sinclair buildings. And then using our 3D printers, we have printed all those buildings. And so now it's sort of like giant Legos, right? So now the police department and the fire department and whoever can assemble the campus on a tabletop and walk through whatever scenarios or run through whatever scenarios they might want to do to get ready for real life training. One of the advantages of that is that now that we have all of the Sinclair buildings put together in Revit, now we can use those to develop our virtual reality offerings. So if you wanted to design something here on campus and put on a set of VR goggles and walk through the thing that you just designed, you can now do that, right? So now we have all that background that you could use for your project. So that's kind of exciting stuff. Virtual reality is one of the things that's coming up for construction. So you'll be able to, within that Revit software, basically push a button and be able to migrate into a virtual reality environment. That's exciting stuff. That is a huge breakthrough. When I was in middle school or high school, we drew buildings with pencils on paper. That seems like, a million years ago and very antiquated, right? So we don't do that anymore. Now we model them in the computer, and it is so much more exciting. And of course, we count on the rest of our industry. So it's not just about design, it's about construction, it's about management, it's about facility management. It's all of those parts and pieces that start with design, or actually they start with the needs of your client. So what do they need? And then you solve those problems all through the process. So it's actually very exciting stuff. Hands-on labs. We are big on hands-on labs here at Sinclair. And I want to take you on a little tour of one. Let me switch screens again here. So this is our construction lab over at Eaker Street. This is actually just a big warehouse where we have students build things. So I want to kind of walk you through that. So obviously we have lots of materials. Let me kind of turn us around here. And we'll see this house from the other end as well. But this is a house that our students have built inside of our construction lab. And it really gives them an opportunity to do hands-on work. So if you look closely down at the bottom of it, you'll notice that there's a concrete footing that's been poured on the floor, and then several courses of concrete block on top of that. And then we framed the walls and the roof, all the interior walls, and they're starting on finishes. We'll take another look at it from the other end when we get down to that end of the construction lab. But it's pretty exciting, pretty cool stuff to be able to do. So the rest of the construction lab, this is where we do a lot of our work. So what you're looking at here, this was a concrete class. And so over on the left, they are forming up to pour an elevated slab. So like a front porch on a house or something like that. So they're mocking it up and getting ready to do that pour. Then right in front of you is a wall that they constructed. And then to the left, this is actually a complicated little project. This has the concrete footing on the floor, and then some courses of concrete block, and then some framing as if this was a floor that you could walk on. And then they're mocking up a roof and how to ventilate an attic space. So a lot's going on in that particular exercise, which means they're learning a lot. How to install doors. Let's go over and take a closer look at this one. So this is more of a commercial application. So this is using metal studs instead of wood studs, and metal studs would be common in schools or stores or more commercial buildings, not residential buildings. And then this is our kind of the other end of the lab area. And I think I've got a couple of pictures here where you can see students who are working on a project. So these folks are in our construction materials and methods class. And in that class, you learn about all the different materials that are in construction, from concrete to steel to wood, just a little bit of everything. And then the exciting part for me is that after we learn about it in the classroom, then we go to the construction lab and you actually get to touch it and use it and install it. And by the time you're done, you know something about those materials and how they go together. We're not making expert contractors out of you, but what we are doing is making sure that you're aware of those materials so that when you keep going through your career, you can use them the way they're supposed to be used. Ultimately, this is the project that we're headed toward. So this is a team project in that same class where students pour concrete, they lay block, they frame up a floor, they frame walls, include door openings, window openings, put a roof on it, that kind of thing. How much we get done depends on how quickly we move through the semester. Sometimes we get a little bit further and we'll do a little bit of finish work like siding or maybe some drywall, that kind of thing. So it's pretty exciting stuff. This is the other end of that house. You can see that this end is a little bit more complete. They're working their way through the house. So the finishes are on it. So we've got siding, we've got roofing, soffit material, that kind of thing. And then I want to skip ahead a few slides. This is not the interesting part of the lab. There we go. Now we're inside of that house. So now you can see that students have actually put this together. They framed the walls, framed the roof, installed the windows, all that kind of good stuff, right? This one, they're now working on wiring. So they've been running electric through the house, and now we can energize that system, and they can turn on and off the lights and understand how that works and the proper way to do it and all that kind of stuff. This is kind of the other end of that house looking, this is the finished end, kind of looking toward the unfinished end, just to give you a perspective. Okay. My notes here. I think I've got one other video here. Oops, hang on, sorry. me This is kind of a fun little video put together by some architecture folks. And hopefully we have sound for this one. Ooh, I'm not hearing sound. Let's try that again.
I think you're going to try to need to unmute that for us. I'm not getting the audio through.
Sorry about that. Ooh. I tried all the unmutes I could find, and that didn't work. Sorry about that. Little technical difficulty.
It's all right. Well, we can post the video in the YouTube comments so if someone would like to go and see it.
Sounds good. It's actually kind of entertaining. So yeah, I think people would like it. So anyway, let me go back here and tell folks about a couple of opportunities that are coming up. So this is our Star Builder Challenge. So this is something new that we're trying this fall. And this is to give folks an opportunity to kind of stretch their design skills a little bit. So what we're asking students to do here is to gather up stuff that they've got around the house and construct a replica of the old Dayton courthouse. So it's over on Main Street, and you can see lots of pictures of it online. And you can put together whatever materials you have, put that together and take some pictures and then submit it through your teacher so that they can gather up all that stuff and send it to us in a package. And then we'll have some judging and we'll award some prizes based on grades and things like that. The deadline for that is to have that all submitted via email to our department from your teacher to our department by 5 o'clock on Monday, September 28th. So that's not a lot of time. So if you're interested, by all means, we would love to have you participate in that. And then second one, this one is a little bit more complicated. This is to use Legos to build a house. So you have to register for this one ahead of time. We have to send you plans for what the house needs to look like. So you can't just make it up yourself. You have to kind of do what a builder does, what a contractor does. Go out there and actually figure it out and put it together the way the client wants it. And then take pictures and send that in. And then we'll give you bonus points if you do some more contractor things or construction things, which include putting together a budget for the project. So we'll send you complete information about that if you're interested, get you registered. And again, you have to work through your teacher to be able to do that. And then here is a brand new thing. So this is called Build the Block. And this is a team activity that we have scheduled for November 7th, and we'll do it via Zoom. And the idea here is that students will work with architects to design a structure for an empty lot here in Dayton. So it's a hypothetical, right? So it's not actually going to be built, but we'll have lots, and based on what the students decide, we'll put a building on that lot and go through the design process. So it's whatever they think the community might need. So it could be a hospital, it could be an office building, it could be a school, it could be a community center, all sorts of possibilities. It's a free event, but we do have to have registration so that we can do all the connections via Zoom and all that kind of thing. This is actually run by the American Institute of Architects, and registration is going to open on October 1st. So we'll share that link with Brian when it's ready, and he can pass that along, and hopefully we'll see what happens. So let's move on, and I believe up next is Kaya to talk about internships and co-op.
Well, thank you, Charlie. Can everybody hear me? Give me a thumbs up. That's the class too. Let me see you guys. Awesome. Okay, so as Charlie said, I work in, my name is Kaya Knowles, and I work as a worksite developer in the work-based learning office. My whole functionality is to ensure that you all, the students at Sinclair, are receiving opportunities for working and learning. So I'm going to pick on the students in Ms. Castro's class. If you would just indulge me for like 2 minutes, I would greatly appreciate it. So I want you to go back to when you were like 5 through 7 years old and really think about those paper airplanes that you made, and those Lego houses that you made, and those pools that you made. All of those things really matter. Why? Because that is what we're doing. That is what Charlie has spent the last 10 to 15 minutes describing, what makes the world work. So if you enjoyed those things, if that really excited you, if that really made you feel like there was something value added for you, this is what we want you to do and think about as a construction, as a path. There is nothing to do other, in my mind, and the best way I feel about myself is when I'm making something or when I'm fixing something. As a homeowner, you will find that you need to be able to fix things for yourself. Why? Because if you need a plumber, guess what? They're going to cost $75 just to come outside, just to come to your house to tell you that it's a $200 project. And then from there, you can decide on what you want to do. So I said all that to say, if you need an electrician, they're going to do the same thing. So why not take upon these skills? Why not learn these opportunities? Get an opportunity, get a skill set, because in this world of work, the next generation, who do you think is going to build those buildings? Who do you think is going to be in your wheelhouse that will be able to provide you with that skill set? My question and ask to you, Ms. Castro's class, is how many of you all build a paper airplane? Raise your hand. Let me see. Come on. All right. How many of you all actually built a Lego house? Let me see. Okay. All right. How many of you all drew a house or a land or a space and place, and you gave it to your parent or your guardian and said, look, this is my future. This is what I want to create. Raise your hand. Let me see who those drawers are. Your role is an architect. Now, going back to those people who built the house, those are my contractors. And did anybody ever stop up the toilet, like with some animals or anything like that? Did anybody ever do that? I'll admit it a little bit. Okay, go on. It's okay. We're all okay. So you need to be the one who can be the plumber. And for those folks, we won't even go there about sticking anything into the sockets. Just know that it's very powerful, okay? All right, so I wanted to spend some time with you, asking you and to engage you into the thinking of those things that really meant something to you as a younger self. I want you to begin to think about what kind of career can that be for you? Because there will be a plethora, as Charlie said, 2.2 billion with the B, billion with the B people on the earth, and they will need spaces and places for them to live and work. So you all think about that as you think about your career in construction. Thank you.
Excellent, Kaya. Thank you so much.
Just to jump in real quick, I know we had a couple questions about internships, so I don't know if you guys are going to touch on that later, but I know that there's a little bit of interest in that from what I've heard from some of the teachers watching right now.
Go for it.
All right, what we got? I'm ready.
I think if you could just give a general, if I'm a student right now and I'm interested in getting an internship in this arena, what are my next steps? How do I learn more? Where should I start?
All right, thank you. That's a great question, Brian. Okay, so when you think about getting an internship through Sinclair, one, you need to be a Sinclair student. But if you are a middle schooler or a high schooler, you should definitely reach out to neighboring construction sites. Ask them, can I come and work on your site just to pick up things, to sweep the floor? One of the things that I learned as a younger individual was I had to start at ground one. I don't call it ground zero because you have to start somewhere. Starting from zero means nothing, but going to one means you started to do something, right? And so you must think about volunteer opportunity, job shadowing opportunities. If you are not connected in that way, your parents don't know folks or that's not really how you move through the earth, then there is always a teacher who can connect you with Mr. Charlie Setterfield. Anyone on this call, we will leave our information so that you can get in touch with us, so that we can help you present to you opportunities. Now, my main functionality in this office, work-based learning, is to ensure that Sinclair students have those said opportunities. I go out and I meet with organizations, companies, and they say to me, Kaya, I need a architect student. Kaya, I need a student who can do Revit. Kaya, I need someone who can do these different things. And so my task becomes to talk to Charlie and Rebecca and see if we have students who can do just that. And so once they say, yes, this student can do that, I'll introduce that student to that organization. And now we have a match. But sometimes it doesn't happen that fast and that easy. It's all about the skill sets that you develop. It's all about the resume that you present, and it's all about that interview that you have. Presenting oneself becomes very important when we talk about this idea of working and learning. One of the skill sets that you must bring to the table every day is this idea of I've got to try, and try again.
Excellent. Thank you, Kaya. So one of the ways that I look at those internships and co-op positions is basically as an extended job interview, right? So hopefully our internships turn into permanent positions for some of our folks, if that's what they want. So it's actually kind of a great thing for both our employers and for our students, because they really get an opportunity to get to know each other and kind of work through it that way. Another thing that I would throw in there, depending on where you are in your educational pathway, if you're still in middle school, early high school, something like that, then I would suggest job shadowing. So job shadowing is something that we can help arrange for you. So one of the other things that I'm involved with is an organization called the American Institute of Architects. And so we're a group of architects here in town and all across the country. And we're very passionate about architecture. We want more people to be involved. We want to kind of share the fun side of architecture. And if you want to job shadow with an architect or a contractor or an engineer or anybody in the built environment, chances are we have contacts and we can help you find that job shadow. There's no better way than spending a few days with somebody to figure out if that's what you want to do. I'm pretty sure my son will never see this video, so I'll tell a story about him. So when he was little, just real little, he was watching a movie or TV or something and decided he wanted to be a surgeon. And that was his focus for the next 12 years, all the way through middle school and high school, surgeon, surgeon, surgeon. Well, the high school that he went to, their senior year, they can do a month-long internship or job shadow, basically. And so he did that and managed to land a job shadow with a surgeon. And the surgeon was great, took him into surgery with him, got to gown up and do all the stuff and talk to patients and hold all the sharp things that you shouldn't hold and that kind of stuff. And at the end of it, he left that internship or that job shadow and said, I don't want to do that. So long story short, he figured out through his job shadow experience that he didn't want to do something. Now he's a mechanical engineer, doing something completely unrelated to the medical field. And he doesn't have to touch the gooey insides of people. So it all worked out for him. So job shadowing is one of those things that I would highly recommend, and we would be happy to help you with it. Brian, did we cover that? Is that anything else on internships or apprenticeships?
No, I think you guys did a great job covering next steps. And I think, if anybody just wants to emphasize this, I don't think we can overemphasize this in this hour, is just that work-based learning comes in all shapes and sizes and lengths. So instead of you guys declaring you're going to go to college and study something for 4 years, go try it out for 4 hours or 4 days. And I think that that's a major takeaway. If you're a student sitting in the classroom or watching this in your hand on YouTube, like, there are great opportunities. And we wanted to bring you, this video with Sinclair because, it's National Construction Appreciation Week. And if any of you are thinking, I might want to go into the skilled trades or construction, we want you guys to know about some of the really cool opportunities we have here locally. So Charlie, I guess, what are some commonly asked questions of you guys, and what are the kinds of students that succeed and usually do pretty well in your program?
Ooh, let's open that up. So Eric or Rebecca, do you have any thoughts about that one?
Sure, I can talk to that for just a second. We see students of all kinds of males and females that do very well in our programs. They are typically ones that like to work with their hands and are very visual people. And so being able to see a concept in their mind and then be able to translate that into something that is on paper or in a computer model, those are the students that typically do well in our programs.
I was just going to add to that we do have students who have gone down that path of thinking the 4-year engineering route or something of that nature is what they want to do, and then they realize that's not what they were expecting, and they actually do want the hands-on, more career type. So we do have students who transition into the more technical side because they thought engineering or something would be, we're expecting it to be one way when really they were actually looking for that hands-on, more technical experience.
That's really helpful. And I guess another question I want to follow up to you guys is, I talk with a lot of students that say something like, I want to go right into the workforce. I don't want to go to school anymore. I want to start working. And we're like, well, you're going to learn. They're going to be teaching you either if you're on the job or not. If one of the students that are watching today who really just want to go right to work, they want to start working right now, if they were to enter a program like yours, when would they start and when could they start working in this arena?
Oh, Kaya wants to answer that so bad.
really do. Okay, so here's the thing about working right away. Do it, and you can come, excuse me, doing what we call an apprenticeship. An apprenticeship is where you go and you're employed by an organization who is partnered with Sinclair. We have registered apprenticeships. Keyword, registered apprenticeships. What does that mean to you as a student who wants to immediately go into the workforce? You can do that and you can learn at the same time. How does that work? You sign up for their organization, you sign up for your Sinclair classes, you're a full-time employee of that organization. Now, mind you, there are some stipulations and some paperwork that you'll have to complete, and you'll go to school. You'll go to school based on what that profession, that skill set, that registered apprenticeship needs you to do. We will literally handhold you through that entire process. The employer will ensure that you're learning, that you're learning on the job. So they call that, your hours on the job, and that's your learning and training. That, and then you will also have your in-class time where you're getting grades and you're learning and you're using a book and you're actually learning what you're working on. What we have found is that students really appreciate this program. One of the best outcomes of it all is that you will receive a journeyman card at the end of the program. Why does that matter to you? Because you can take that, and mind you, as you're gaining skill set, you're gaining pay raises. So by the time you're finished with your program, you are a full-time employee when you started, and now you're at a skilled pay rate by the time you finish. You also will earn a certificate and your journeyman card. Win, win, win all the way around. At the end of the day, you have learned and worked at the same time.
That's really helpful. And I think that these 40 minutes flew by. So, I can't commend you all enough for stepping up for National Construction Appreciation Week. We have a lot of students that rightfully so want to go into the skilled trades and construction. So thank you. And Charlie, any last words before we hop off?
No, thank you guys. I really appreciate everybody joining us today. The folks here at Sinclair, the folks at the schools, and especially the Educational Service Center for facilitating this. So I would just encourage folks to reach out if they have questions or want to explore more, just contact us. We'd be happy to do it.
Great. Well, thank you guys so much. We appreciate everyone hopping on this morning. And hopefully for the students watching, this was just another opportunity to kind of look through the window of what it means to work in construction and the skilled trades and, possibly even become an architect. So thank you guys so much. And we appreciate it. And until next time, see you guys.